Everyone got mad last time because I didn't give you any food.
But it was really funny because I was telling JB, I was like, you offered.
Yeah, I know. But it just seemed like I didn't.
Yeah.
Because they just saw me eating in front of you. They're like, yo, how dare you?
And I was not bothered, though.
But that's just the internet. You have to accept that people are operating on like limited information.
Of course.
And so when they're coming at everything, they're just looking at it like, how dare you? And I'm just like, you don't even know the full story. She going through some dietary shit. Yeah. She can't eat everything right now.
Super allergic to a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
So I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. What's going on with you?
I'm good. You know, the world is a crazy place right now. It's kind of like trying to stay sane and like balance through all that as best I can.
Why is it affecting you so much?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm black.
Yeah, so that shit's really getting to you?
I think it's just a lot of the conversations that have been coming up and like people asking to have conversations that are uncomfortable.
People are asking you to have conversations?
Yeah.
What do you mean, what kind of conversations? Because I've been black my whole life and I've never been asked to have conversations.
Yeah, I've been asked to have conversations, you know?
That's how you know she's way cooler than I am. People want to talk to her about blackness.
So a lot of conversations with both black folks, fellow BIPOC, but also like allies, white
what's that
allies. Term? BIPOC, Black Indigenous Person of Color.
God damn. Okay. All right.
BIPOC.
Okay.
Like.
All right. She's on a terminology. I'm not mad at you. So inclusive of you. Yeah. So you've been talking to them?
Yeah, and also like a lot of my white friends, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I've just like noticed how it's shifted a lot of the conversations or things that have been unsaid have been coming up.
Like what?
I think people have just been acknowledging a lot of some people in my environment have been acknowledging their biases and stuff. Internalized, or even, you know, fellow black folks who've just internalized a lot of racism and have been kind of sitting with, because we're constantly like confronted with what it means to be black. Now there's all this like, so you're just sitting there. Sometimes you just don't want to think about it all the time.
Yeah,
you just want to live your life. It's really hard to do that. You can't just live your life when you're constantly confronted with being reminded that you're black.
Without naming anybody or giving too many intimate details, like what's an example of a story that like you had to kind of talk about with somebody?
One of my really good friends, a few weeks ago, you know, basically approached me and wanted to acknowledge, I guess, her lack of understanding and just communicate that she is well aware that she has like work to do in terms of like relearning or unlearning. But it was a little bit uncomfortable for me because I was just like, well, that's on your time, like congratulations. You know what I mean?
She just came up to you randomly. She's like, I have a lot of learning to do, and I will be better for my POC.
I've had a lot of those.
Really?
Yeah. And I
don't have enough white friends to have many of those.
I have a lot of white friends.
I just don't have enough.
I just know a lot of people, and it just turns out that that's part of the...
Like the few white friends I do have, I just tell them, like, yo, I know y'all are good, so we don't have to have this conversation.
Yeah.
And so that's it. That's
like our common friends are amazing. So it's
so I'm like, I don't need to talk to them about race.
Yeah, same.
You know what I mean? I'm very like pretty candid about most stuff. So if they came to me on some white guilt trip, I was like, nigga, if you don't get out of here with your emotional baggage,
like no thanks, I guess.
Does the burden have too many friends?
It's not too many friends. It's just I know a lot of people.
Yeah, sure, that's fair.
Not the same thing.
I know a lot of people too.
Yeah.
But they just know I'm unapproachable.
Yeah, we don't have the same demeanor.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. Don't come to me with your bullshit.
You have a fuck off stamped across your forehead.
What is this? Huh? Some bullshit? Take it across the street, bitch. Garbage day's on Tuesday. See you then. I got no time for that.
That's bad.
That's too much.
Yeah.
It's like, I barely invest.
But good for you, though, honestly. Sometimes.
To be bothered.
Yeah, it's like that time I called you 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Tell me that. Tell us that.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly why I called you.
Watch The Wire, though. Yeah.
I don't remember exactly why I called you, but I called you first. It was, I guess, for advice or just to have... Because I know you will give it to me straight with no fluff at all. Fluff is not your forte. So that was really nice. You just came at me really straight. And
what was the situation?
Like, don't do anything.
What was the situation? Because they probably want to know.
Basically, I was just asked to collaborate with this woman who's like based in the.
Sorry. I just love this kind of terms. Knowing what's coming is such a weird term to use. But yeah, okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This woman approached me. This woman that I barely know approached me. She's fine. Like a cousin of hers or a sister-in-law, I can't remember, is wanting to like be more inclusive and is also having a hard time navigating what is happening right now. And she wanted to collaborate so that I can help her better communicate what it is that she wants to offer to Black people as a white person.
If you keep doing this, you're gonna get arthritis in your fingers. So stop playing.
I think I already have it.
Yeah, you've been air quoting everything so hard that the air's gotten denser in this bitch. Like, what is? You've been like Black people, white people, POC, BIPOC. Yeah, you started to look like a T-Rex in a couple of seconds. That's funny. Yeah, that's some bullshit.
And it took, at first I was like, oh, this is sweet. She wants to collaborate and do something. And then it took me like 5 seconds and I was like, wait a minute. Oh, do you want me to translate for you? You want me to do emotional labor for you? I was like, oh. So that like took me aback a bit. And then I was like, no thanks.
No thanks. I feel you.
That's it.
Saying no to a lot of stuff is like one of the greatest skills I've developed. I just say no to so many things. And, you know, sometimes it's frustrating for the people around me. It's like, people are like, but do you want to do media? Like, you want to go do this newspaper? I was like, no. And, you know, obviously I have my responsibilities to preach and making sure, like, we promote the brand to some degree. But I'm like, we can find other ways. I don't feel like we need to go do this radio interview and do all these corny shits. Like, it's not going to do us much good. And I don't care to get that kind of clout, you know? Like, I don't want to do it. And I don't want to do it. I've done it a few times, and I did it once, but I just don't want to. And, you know, being able to voice myself and say no, because I have done it when I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there, and you're just like, ugh. And the payout's never worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? Like, the juice is never worth the squeeze. So, knowing that, I say no. I just say no to so many things. But you want to get involved with this charity? I don't give a fuck about this charity, so no. If it's a charity that I care about, like, listen, I'll do pro bono stuff for things that I love.
Yeah. So, is there something that you're involved in right now that you really love?
Well, not now because the pandemic's here, so everything's pretty much dead.
Or, like, let's say in the last, like, couple of years, is there something that you've been involved with?
Yeah, I've been involved with, like, the Boys and Girls Club a couple of times, you know what I mean? Just going there to talk to some of the kids about, like, potentially creating your own online brand and doing shit that way. And so for a lot of people, that's been super conducive for them. You know, just different initiatives that we've done with like youth centers and community centers, you know, in areas that are Haitian or, you know, full immigrants, and then going there to talk to a lot of the kids because they kind of look up to us in some ways or whatnot. So yeah, you know, there's definitely been initiatives like that I've liked. It has to be something I believe in, generally.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And do you think there's something you want to get involved in? Like, having, like, kind of seeing what's taking place right now. Is there something in you that's...
No, I'm kind of already doing it, but it's just mentoring creators who want to get into this field. I give them all the advice they need. I don't hide any of the tips and tricks. I tell them how they do it. Like, people even older than me come for consultation. Like, yo, how do I start my online brand? I'm like, do this, and like they're skyrocketing. You know, it's not like I have a stakes in their company, but for me, just I'm glad to see them do well. They have the talent. They just don't know how to package it and offer it to people. So sometimes you just kind of give them tips and pointers so that they can, you know, maximize their potential. So. For me, it's just the idea of mentoring and offering my knowledge.
So you want to mentor me?
Is you trying to get in the online game?
No.
I didn't think so. No, I've never pushed it on people. People have to seek it out because I recognize that, like, even if I think somebody could be potentially great online and they have a great product to offer people, they have to have some fire inside them to do it. You know, they have to have something that's motivating them.
I think that's the big thing, like that fire that you're speaking about, because sometimes it could be very intimidating. You know what I mean? It also depends on your personality. I feel like you have a personality that does well, like in this, you know what I mean? This realm, like you You're very matter-of-factly. When you believe something, I could be wrong, but it's like when you believe something or when you learn something new, you're just... And you also don't take things personally, for the most part, which makes it probably very easy for people to, like, learn skills from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I've had rough teachers my whole life, and to me, it's never bothered me how they teach me, provided they are teaching me something. You know, like, I've had teachers before who, like, would be very stern with me, and afterwards they were like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, I don't care. As long as I learn something, I don't really care how rude you were. It's like, to me, it doesn't matter. But I know it's not like that for everyone else.
No, some people are...
you have to have a delicate touch.
Yeah.
I'm not meant to mentor those people.
Yeah. So
I'm not
very demographic.
Yeah. I mean, even with, like, my comments, when people ask me for advice, you know, sometimes it's very blunt and very straight. It doesn't come from a bad place. It's just the way I package things. And I think it's just my way of communicating, because I think it's like, it's just important for people to know, like, life is not always going to package things in a way for you that's very kind and palatable.
Absolutely not.
And so just getting used to that reality will do you a lot of good in the long run, you know?
Yeah. But it's so interesting because that's, like, the difference between so-called tough love and having, like, a softer approach. You know, some parents, for instance, will have that, like, tough, old school tough love mentality to kind of teach their kids a lesson. And I don't know if that always works for certain kids. Certain kids are too sensitive for that. You know what I mean? And I understand. Like, I was one of those.
Yeah.
Tough love didn't work. I'd just be like, I would, like, want to throw it back at them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, gonna throw all that angst at me? I'm gonna throw it right back at you. So, yeah, knowing what kind of person you're working with.
What would you throw back?
You mean in general?
Yeah, like how would you throw it back?
Less now, but I think before it's like if I feel someone is being aggressive, I'm gonna want to deflect it right back at them, as opposed to like I'm almost afraid that I'm gonna internalize it, you know, and that I'm gonna feel, like actually like sick afterwards. Yeah.
But you know that's the important thing. I think that's like that ego that you need to keep in check.
Yeah.
That's why in the military, when they yell at you and you can't respond, they are breaking down your ego to get you to comply. But in understanding that and in accepting what it is that they're saying, everything goes much more smoothly and you can keep your ego in check. So for me, even when I think about raising my children, I'm not going to be stern for the sake of being stern. I'm not going to go out of my way to be cruel or anything. But I do think that being tough with them is going to be important so that when they go out into the real world and they meet somebody who has no interest in their well-being and is going to be tough with them, they'll be able to handle it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I feel like just, you know, I mean, that's something that most people know, but difficulty in life, you know, it's like hard times make for strong men. You know, that's like always a saying that they say. But to me, that's like definitely true. You know, when you experience hardship, you're much more ready for anything that comes afterwards.
Absolutely.
And I definitely think that, you know, with the idea of mentorship, I want people who are ready to sacrifice to learn. I need someone who's ready to shed a little bit of their ego to grasp new concepts, because learning requires humility.
Yeah. And
if your ego is involved, it's going to be very difficult for you to learn, you know? Like, just like it's easy for me to take a soft approach and teach people about, you know, how to create your online stuff. But online world is cruel. There's people who are going to be in your comments saying all kinds of foul shit. There's people who are going to send you DMs that are going to be mean, you know? And so if you're not ready for the reality of, like, the world is kind of cruel in some ways, you're not going to be apt to handle it.
What do you find, how was your learning curve when you first started this kind of like journey, or like when you first started getting into like building your online brand or whatever it is? I mean, I don't know what your journey was like when you started this.
I mean, so much to still learn. I'm always adapting and changing and trying new things. But learning curve, the online market's still the wild, wild west. There's like a lot of open slots. It's not like the real estate market in a city that's like way high, where everything's already been bought and sold and property values through the roof, so it's hard to get in. You know, this is one of those places where it's like when they first arrived to America and cowboys were allowed. And they had to send deputies to go after people. Like, it's still a lot of gray area. Good news for that is that there's a lot of opportunities to win. There's a lot of opportunities to come in and find your niche and build from that. So for me, the learning curve was pretty fast. I was pretty consistent. Not so much at the beginning. I was kind of slow. And then after that, I started kind of picking up a little bit. And then I started kind of going a little bit more consistent. But obviously over the last year, it's been very, very consistent. And as a result, the growth has been exponential. But the learning curve has been good. And I think part of that is, and especially with the return on investment, has been because of the fact that online is so open.
Yeah.
You can come with whatever you want, and you may find a big market for it. Yeah.
It's true. I don't really think about that. Like, I think like the online sphere kind of makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, like this, even this, like now I'm like easing into it slowly, but definitely it's a lot of eyes.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, when you're a very private person?
Yeah.
Yeah, so learning to navigate that space. So how would you teach somebody who's a little bit like more like me, let's say, if somebody approached you who was like, I'm interested in kind of finding a niche for myself, or like sharing some of the...
I think it's really just a matter of ego. I think if you can shed your ego and understand it's not necessarily about you, then you just make content. It's just... That's why I don't get bothered when I see a lot of negative comments, or I don't get hurt with it. Like, every now and then I'll have my ego flare up and someone will send me like a weird comment. I'll be out, my DMs. It'll happen every once in a blue moon. But for the most part, you keep it in check. And I think because the juice is worth the squeeze, it's hard to overlook those couple times.
The first time no one else said, what is this expression?
Yeah, because when you make juice,
yes,
but you got to squeeze the fruit to make the juice. Well, sometimes you squeeze so much and there's like a little bit of juice that comes out.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So sometimes the juice is worth it, and sometimes it's not worth it. But in this scenario, it is.
Yeah,
like the amount of people that we're helping. The amount of people who are coming to this.
Absolutely.
Because here's the thing. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of mentorship. I would go online. I would go through video games. I would go through like forums to learn information about how to be a man and how to navigate this world and how to grow as a person. And so because that was my medium, I know that's going to be a lot of other people's medium. And so if I can provide a platform where we talk about these issues in a way that I can relate my experience and help people out, then I'm super happy with that. So
that's inspiring.
So yeah, inspiring. Knowing that, I can handle a couple of DMs. I have to believe that the end goal is worth all the sacrifices.
Fabulous,
and it is. So after that, it's not hard for me, but I can understand it's harder for other people. People are very sensitive, and people can't sometimes handle the criticism or all that attention. I'm sort of like you in the sense that I don't like walking down the street and everyone in the city recognizing me. So I have my hood up. You know what I mean? I go through the metro. People can't recognize me. You know what I mean? I do what I can to be very anonymous. Even when people recognize me in a club, I'm like, "What's up?" I keep it brief, and then I go back to my corner because I like my routine. I like my life.
Yeah, anonymity to a certain extent.
Yeah, I want to be able to feel regular, even if you don't view me as such. Because I view myself that way, I'd like to have a human experience still.
I was on Facebook, very random, and one of those like posts people put a little inspirational quote or whatever.
Yeah.
But this one thing came up, and I found it actually to be quite interesting. And it was talking about how every single person you meet, or every single person that sees you, or you have a conversation with, or whatever, has a version of you in their head.
Sure.
Right, and that version only exists through their perception.
Sure.
Right? And even the perception that we have of ourselves. So you were just saying you're just a regular guy living your life. And it's just crazy how many different versions of who we are. We're so dead set on who we think we are. Mm-hmm. But what does that even mean? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just kind of, I don't know. I just remember that when you were talking about it.
Yeah, no, I could see that. To some people I'm a mentor. Some people I'm a father figure, which is always weird to hear.
You're a father figure to certain people.
Yeah.
Do tell me more, because
there's people in the comments 17 and 18-year-olds who were man, you guys teach me so much about being a man and stuff. So for them, that's what that means, and I accept that that's what it means for them.
Yeah.
But I don't have to internalize their perception of me.
Absolutely.
And I don't have to live by their perception of me.
Absolutely.
People can see me as a bad person. That's their right.
Yep.
Doesn't mean I have to internalize that.
Yep.
So I keep my distance from people's perception of me.
Yeah.
To some degree. And then from there, I just keep moving. You know.
Is there something that you're like focused on right now?
Yeah, so
working on?
I'm obviously we had a really good growth spurt during this pandemic.
Yeah.
It was really good. We did a lot of work with that. And so things have slowed down a bit, but I'm excited to try something new. Like we were uploading every day, which was like obviously a very strenuous task. Mm-hmm. But we managed it. And then we got in the groove of it and we got easy for us after some time. But then we're like, what's next? You know, do we want to stay with this? Be kind of bored of uploading every day. I want to do different types of projects. So just accepting the fact that sometimes it's good to try out new things and see what you like about that. And you could always come back to it later because you already know how to do it every day, you know? So yeah, kind of just switching that up and then finding what the next thing is. And also I'm going through a fast at the moment. It's been about 7 days now that I haven't eaten any food. So that feels kind of strange.
How did we not talk about this at the beginning?
What?
How you just gonna pull this up that you haven't eaten in 7 days?
I mean, I've done water fast before, so for me it's like not that big of a thing.
How do you feel in terms of like mental clarity, body wise?
Yeah, so it's weird, right? So the first 3 days you don't feel much difference.
Yeah.
Then day 4, 5, 6, you start to feel lethargic as your body really goes through like it expels a lot of stuff. You can feel it. So you might start to feel lightheaded, some heartburn. So I have like some apple cider vinegar. I have some salt water to kind of manage my sodium levels. So I know I'm doing it. But you have to slow down. You have to slow down.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of time to think about stuff. I've made some good videos actually during this time because I've had time to just think about things. So it's cool to slow things down.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's good. It's good. It's also good for me to just always re-acknowledge like my eating habits and how I'm doing things. So yeah, it's good for all those things.
I read this book a few years ago. I think it was about 2 years ago that it basically talks about like the gut being the second brain, you know, and how a lot of our thinking processes actually is connected to our brain. So a lot of times when we have like a foggy brain, it is due to our digestion. And it's crazy how when you give the digestive system a rest, there's a level of clarity and there's a switch in your mood. Obviously, it's really hard. You're doing like a full-on water fast, so that's going to be very challenging. Are you doing it more for just like health benefits or? Health
benefits. For me, it's a good reset for everything, just to kind of plan the rest of my year out. So it'll be good for me.
Yeah.
And I like it. For me, it's something I've done in the past in shorter spurts. I've done 3 days. I've done 9 days. I've done some 5 days. So this time I'm probably going to go to 14 to 21. We'll see how that works out.
That's huge.
But obviously, after you get past the 7th day, things kind of ease up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But what you said about the gut's also really real. Also inflammation, how much of it, how inflamed we are. Like I know it sounds like such a buzzword now when it comes to health and fitness, but
it's the whole thing.
I can't explain the weight loss that happens within the 3-4 days without saying inflammation.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like your body literally shrinks.
Yeah.
And it's because you're so inflamed from a lot of the foods that you're eating and your gut. So yeah, just seeing that rapid change, like to lose like 12 pounds in 3 days is absurd.
When you opened the door, I was like, there's something different. Like, I was like looking at you. And
it's probably just my face. My face normally takes it on, You're going to feel it. It's weird because if you look at yourself in the mirror, you may not notice, but you start to shrink and your clothes feel different and your body feels different. But so for me, my goal is to wrap it up. And then after I wrap it up, I do the 6 to 7 days where I come out of it. So it's just like bone broth soup and vegetables and fermented stuff, and then once my gut and everything and my my intestines, all of it's good to go, back to eating regular food, which will be cool because I think I'm probably going to do like a birthday party, have everyone come for Ethiopian food. It'll be nice.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, but I feel good. I feel really good.
You're probably going to be like, you probably are like healing the lining, your stomach lining too, right? I heard bone broth is really, really great to help,
so collagen definitely helps out.
Yeah.
So when you think of your esophagus, you can't just go back to eating regular foods because it's been so long without food.
Yeah.
The lining's pretty much gone, right? So the collagen inside bone broth will definitely help to rebuild that. And then fermented foods, great for your gut.
Probiotics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's like the first thing you're injecting in. So I've researched all this stuff. I'll probably do like a lengthy video in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works super well. It's been working for me, so I can't complain.
That's crazy because that's kind of what I haven't been fasting, but I've been really, really steady and really consistent with my eating habits too, but for health reasons, obviously, and
Right.
personal reasons. But yeah, it is the discipline though that comes with that too,
Sure.
you know, like the being consistent and kind of like seeing where your addictions are present, you know, when you're like out and you're like stimulated, you're with friends or whatever, you want to just buy something, just having that discipline to be like, okay, recenter on my goal or recenter on, it really keeps you in check, you know, and yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Okay. I'm just going to hit the record button and hit it again. Yeah, first time I did it, I didn't know I would get heartburn because like the acid.
Yeah.
Yeah, when there's not enough of it, it's very easy to get acid reflux.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah. Wow.
I think we have like at least I know for me, I just feel like I have a responsibility to maintain my body, maintain my health. I'd like to be able to be here as long as possible to help the people I want to help. So for me, it's not just my vehicle, you know. It's something that I have to maintain to be present for people that I have to take care of.
Well, that's the big thing, right? It's like, when cliche as it is, it's like when you are in a space when you're actually healthy and you feel good in your body and you feel like that's not actually taking away from your interactions, from the work that you're doing, then you can be a lot more present. But like when you're struggling and you're in pain, like physically, it's really hard to get to that next level of being able to be really present with people and being productive, or even performing or doing the things, creating if you're creating or doing the things that you want to do with ease, with more ease.
Yeah, for sure.
Know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I want to get back to just being able to move as well as I wanted to. I want to be able to just like not have to worry about certain issues. I want to just know that my decisions today are not going to negatively impact me 15 years from now. You know, like I want to just take the precautions I can while there's no negative side effects to stop things I know are going to come later potentially. So yeah, I just want to be smart with these things.
Do you have like a daily or like a weekly practice or that like keeps you? There's a lot going on obviously right now, so that keeps you like centered or keeps you grounded or a little bit more balanced in the midst of juggling everything that's taking place, because we're like dealing with like, you know, the pandemic, race relations, like there's the economy, like there's so much that's taking place right now, you know. There's a shift in consciousness. Like,
when you say balance, what do you mean?
Obviously, balance, what I mean by balance is like finding a way that works for you to be in a good space. You know, like where's that like space for you, like where you feel like, okay, like I've got this, I
think that I'm kind of used to chaos. You know what I mean?
that's,
like I'm kind of used to just always being on the edge, and I'm just okay with it. It's like the idea of making videos every day, but also like handling paperwork and then handling like future plans and handling like seeing friends and then handling. I never feel like I'm on top of everything, but I know I'm gonna get it done.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the best way. Like I would equate it to like a college student who like studies the night before its exam, you know.
Yeah.
Except I'm really good at it, so I don't fail or I don't get bad grades. So I think I could do with some better planning, some better organizing, just all that. But being in those situations don't stress me out. I don't tear my hair out.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of a negative result. I know if it starts to happen, then I'll just adjust and I'll learn. But I'm used to walking that line. So yeah, I don't have any
that tightrope.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a friend who calls it chaos yoga.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, he's not a yogi at all.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm not a yogi. I don't do yoga, but I do chaos yoga. And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? And she's just like, it's just learning to juggle all of these different aspects of life and like still being able to complete my work and be like mentally sound.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
If everything's like burning around me, I don't go crazy. I think like if everything outside is chaotic, like myself, I'm peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I'm just like...
You were also in the army.
Yeah.
So you were like almost like trained, no? To like not be so affected by things that are happening on an external level?
Partially, but I've had that before even the military.
Mm.
I think the military kind of just probably drove it in, but it's a mantra I've had before and after. I think it's just the idea of stoicism. It's just like the idea of like, I'm just not going to stress things I can't control. Did I work hard on this project? Yeah.
I feel that, yeah.
Did it fail? Sure. Why? No sense in getting sad, but just why? Figure it out, learn, do better next time. But I just, even when like dating experiences don't work out, I'm like, did I give it an honest shot? Yes. Did it fail? Yes. Why? If there's something I can do different next time and try it out, then we'll do that.
Yeah.
But I don't stress myself out with things that don't go my way.
Mm.
So if I don't stress the outcome, then the chaos can't bother me.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you basically like just like you. It's a way to trust. Actually, it's like you're in trust mode. You're like you trust that things will pan out as they need to. Like you're not trying to. You're not trying to like make it into something specific.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a goal in mind, and you kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, yeah. And then oftentimes I end up somewhere better than what I anticipated.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just easier to manage because I can't control the chaos or the most. I can mitigate a couple, but I can't control all of it. So to stress that to me just doesn't seem logical. I just control what I can, do the best. If it turns out great, great. If it doesn't, shit happens.
Yeah.
So I'm not a stressed person in life.
That was a big learning curve for me too. Yeah.
Also.
I think in a lot of ways, just like letting go of control when it came to actually just learning that controlling a lot of situations or circumstances in my life were actually just harming me and like taking away from energy that I can be putting into other aspects of my life, you know, like especially like creatively. There's so much like mental space that's taken up when you're trying to like, I guess, manipulate an outcome, a specific outcome, or just you're so invested in an idea. And then when you kind of relinquish that, then there's so much creative space and creative freedom to like play around with possibilities that otherwise would not be available to you, you know? Yeah. Like we always think we have things figured out, but we don't, and we think we know what's happening, but we don't, and it's like this constant of getting your ego checked all the time where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, like actually I'm, you know, there's so much more for me to experience and learn. But yes, by being in the driver's seat, but being open to the possibility of not knowing where this is going to go, you know? Yeah.
Do you...
I guess, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's the best way I could, like, my brain is still a little fried this morning. But.
It's okay. Do you stress the future?
No.
Does like really. The future give, like, when you think about the future, does it give you anxiety?
Oh, it used to so much. Because I was thinking about everything that's happening in the world. I'm thinking about the environment. I'm thinking about, like, race relations. I'm a hypersensitive person. Like, so I used to just be so affected by everything that was going on. And it wouldn't be apparent to people, but I would internalize it. You know what I mean? And so my response was, instead of, like, being engaged in the world, I would retreat. Just, like, sequester myself. And learning to, you know, like as the years went on, like when I got closer to my 30s, it was just kind of like I noticed that those patterns were not serving me, and I had to make some adjustments, and literally, like, it was like creating physical illness. It was creating a lot of stress in my life, so I had to let go of that, and that illness, became a teacher. So yeah. Why am I gonna stress myself? I just gotta, like, I can't do anything about it. All right, well, I'll just focus on what I can do. It's been said time and again, but
let it go.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
So I've learned to let so many things go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just accept the way some things are, and always remind myself.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Yeah. Not to sound like woo-woo or whatever, but honestly, it makes room for, like, little miracles to kind of happen in your life, and it really keeps you, like, it gives you it opens up this, like, window of opportunity for us to be able to see the beauty in life too, because it's life is challenging, but it is also incredible. I'm not saying much by saying that, but it's just there's this very, like, polarized experience, I guess, and, like, that dance of being able to experience both. You can experience the hardships, but then you also just, like, allow yourself to, like, receive the goodness as well, and the beauty and, like, all that stuff. I don't, like, whether it's, like, through aesthetic pleasures or through your relationships or whatever.
Yeah.
And especially right now with everything that's taking place, it's just like we also kind of, like, just need a break to be and, like, live and exist and enjoy one another and celebrate one another, and yeah. Joy is, like, radical. Yeah. Corny but true. Corny but true.
Yeah.
Thinking about, like, why, there's this, like, idea that, like, I'm generalizing, obviously, but wanting, do you know the term spiritual bypassing?
No.
Would you say that you're a spiritual person?
I mean, I don't put much emphasis in it, but I don't deny its potential existence.
Okay, so what are you referring to as, like, existence? Are we talking about, like, I
mean, just the idea that there can be things out there that can't be measured or touched, but that could be real. I don't deny that existence. I don't deny that possibility.
Yeah.
But I don't concern myself with it because I can't measure it or touch it, so for me it makes no sense to think about it.
Okay. So I'm doing this, like, creative practice right now.
Okay.
That's quite interesting. It's, like, a commitment to, like, create something every day. So I've, like, almost, like, taken it on as, like, a spiritual practice, I guess. It's just, like, a way to kind of honor creativity and beauty and play and stuff. And it's crazy because, like, I'm, like, maybe 7 weeks in, and it's a way for you to, like, honor the artist in you or whatever. And I'm, like, 7 weeks in, and I'm realizing how all this idea of, like, that we have these ideas, indoctrinated ideas we have about, like, God and so on and so forth, like, so it obviously gets in the way oftentimes of like who we think we are, or, like, how we relate to the world, and there's a lot of shame around, like, spirituality and, like, religion, and there's all this, like, taboo, and at least in my circle, there are for lots of people that's not the case, but, like, in certain environments I've been in, it's kind of, like, it's always regarded as, like, woo-woo, But this, like, idea that when you're in a creative space, you're like kind of you're trusting something you don't know. You don't know where it's coming from, where these ideas are coming from. Like it's not really yours. You know what I mean? Like it's yours because you're like doing them, and you're like you're forming the idea, but like where does it actually come from? You know?
Yeah.
Like when you get an inspiration, where is this inspiration coming from? So I've just been like thinking about like creativity as like a spiritual practice almost. You know?
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not mad at that. I think regardless of where it comes from, it's coming. Maybe I'm just too pragmatic, but I'm like, knowing won't change much for me.
Yeah.
Unless there's like some fucking goddess of like creativity that's like, if you worship me, it gets 10 times better. Then I'm like, all right, maybe there's like a return on investment if I do something. But otherwise, I'm just like, shit's coming.
Yeah,
and I ain't done nothing for it, so fuck it. You know, just keep going. I don't, I know sometimes people are like, well, what's the meaning of life? And I'm just like, I don't think about that shit. Just take every day as it comes. I don't, those kind of esoteric questions don't, it's like people sometimes ask me, like, aren't you afraid of dying? I'm like, but like, what comes after death? I'm like, I don't care. I'm just trying to live a good life. Try to be good to my neighbors, good to people. Try to be empathetic. If I fuck up, apologize, and try to do right by people. And then beyond that, I don't stress it. I don't stress it at all. Because to me, it's like, if I did my best and I get there and they don't like me because I didn't do it their way, then fuck them, because that's like stupid to me. And then if I do my best and there is something, then they're like, come on in. And if there's nothing, then I'm just like, well, I still lived a good life, you know? So to me, it's just stuff I don't stress. Because to me, it's like, it doesn't matter. It's fun to think about, like, briefly, but I don't...
Like, you don't ever, like, play with thoughts? Like, you don't, like, ever sit and just, like, ever ask yourself why you're here? Or you just kind of... You've never asked yourself why you're here or what you want to do with your time? Because you seem like you're living a pretty, quote-unquote, a purposeful life.
I think there's a big difference between, like, what is my purpose and what comes after death. What is
Obviously,
my purpose? Yeah, you know what I mean? I say that because questioning yourself is very different than questioning
meaning of life,
abstract ideas that you can never interact with physically. So, yeah, do I ask myself, what is my purpose here? What am I here to do? For sure. Because that's like part of my guiding compass. So those things are important to know.
Yes.
But beyond that, I don't, like, outside of me, I don't question things you know. To me, it's not useful to me. But I'm not mad at other people who do it. I just focus my energy on shit I can control and focus on that. Yeah. Simple.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Here's a topic I wanted to ask you about because I've been thinking about this a lot. And it's on the topic of consent. Obviously within sexual relations. What are your thoughts on consent, on how people want it applied and how it works out in reality?
Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Well, people have ideas of what consent should look like within a sexual relationship. You know, you hear all those ideas a lot. What has it been in your experience with consent?
Okay, so my experience in terms of somebody asked me like before we engage in something.
Yeah. Do you feel like... Yeah, has consent always been present? Has it been abstract? Has it been...
It's been both. It's been both present and abstract.
Okay,
where we play these really, especially in the dating world, we play these very strange, not games, but there is this like way men and women, or women and women, men, whatever, it doesn't matter, but like the way we approach one another. And I think the way that we've been conditioned, especially with like movies as kids and so on and so forth, there's like this like dominant narrative. And so when you're younger, obviously you go...
What's the dominant narrative?
At least for like heterosexual relationships, that you kind of expect there's no actual conversation around consent. Have you ever seen a Disney movie where like the Disney characters, like one Disney character says like, can I kiss you?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, or like whatever, asks you before the person engages. There's almost this idea that it takes away from the experience. Mm-hmm. And so I have been in instances where I was not asked and the person just like assumed or that it was that's what I wanted and like went for it, and I didn't want that. Mm-hmm. And in hindsight, like I contextualize it and I understand because of like the conditioning, but it wasn't a pleasant experience, right? And then
I just want to ask something. Flip side, has there been times where people didn't ask, went for it, and you did like
That's exactly what I was going for. So I'm like, this is where it's tricky because there are times as well where like they did not ask. I saw it coming, just like the other times, and I liked it. Mm-hmm. I've been in both. Mm-hmm. So the easiest thing is just ask.
Yeah.
That's the safest. Mm-hmm. But, you know, just even if you think it's not quote unquote romantic, just ask. It doesn't matter. Actually,
you would like it if somebody came like, can I kiss you right now?
It's not cute because of my conditioning and my programming.
That's the truth.
That's the truth. I'm not saying it's like a popular thing to say, but like it's not cute. But it would make me feel safer. It would make me feel a lot more relaxed. Because I've noticed there's a lag between my body and my mind. Mm-hmm. Right? There's the way my body reacts and the way my mind is thinking sometimes is off. Yeah. Has been off in the past. Yeah. So, you know, we're human beings. We're complex and layered and there's no black and white. But in this case, it's very simple. Just ask. And it's better for it. Actually, it's better for it. You'll be better for it. Because you're opening up dialogue to have conversations around other stuff, you know? And you're creating a kind of environment where anything could be talked about with the person. Versus tiptoeing. It's not natural that we tiptoe around one another. If you're literally going to be sharing.
On that note, flirting is innuendo.
It is.
Romance is innuendo.
It is.
Abstract.
It's
never clearly, like, women don't like it.
It is so abstract.
I mean, I've tried it before. Trust me, I've tried it. Girls that said I want it direct. I kid you not. Girls like, I would want a guy that just comes up to me and says, he just wants to bang me. I was like, oh, cool. I really want to bang you. And they go, and you see like this revolt in them. And even though they verbalized it, they couldn't internalize these ideas that they claimed.
Because you actually said, because I want to bang you.
I used the exact words that she used.
Bro, some people, come on, literal. You can't, I know. You're like, yes, boo-boo, but like, there is a way to say it sometimes.
I actually knew she didn't want that. I knew she didn't want it the way I said.
Were you testing her? Were you?
I just did it for the fun. I didn't really care if I blew it up. The situation, I didn't mind. But I was like, let's see if you're really about what you claim.
Yes.
And she wasn't. And it's okay. And I know if I would have played the long game and been patient and been like, and then we get back to my place and we're having a good dinner and everything's cool, then it would have happened. But I think people have all these ideas of what they want consent to look like. And when it happens in practice, they go, ugh. Because the body wants what the body wants. And the mind will oftentimes follow what the body wants. You know, when people are like, I don't know, I just didn't feel it. What do you mean? That's the body.
Yep.
But then you have a girl who's like, yeah, he just grabbed me and he kissed me and I loved it. Like, that sounds super rapey. But because you liked it, it wasn't. But if you didn't like it, can you believe that creep? That's weird. You know, we talk about how like consent has to be loud and enthusiastic. Okay, cool. Sure. But how many people actually do that?
But this is where, let's go back to what I was saying earlier, the conditioning bit. When you've been conditioned around a certain narrative and that's what you've taken on to be the norm, your mind and your body is now wired for that, to respond to that. It's literally like a program that you've inputted into your brain.
Sure.
Like a code. It works like a computer,
Yeah.
you know? So obviously, if that's the dominant narrative that you have in your mind, and that's the code that you have in your mind, your body is literally going to be reacting according to that.
Sure.
It's just like, it's just science. Like, there's nothing else to it.
Right.
And so if what she's saying, for instance, or what he's saying, or whatever, is contradicting that biological wiring and that belief system, then obviously there's going to be a lag.
Yeah.
And sometimes people want to say things that sound good, but they don't believe it because
They don't.
so.
They don't.
But consent is important.
It is. I mean,
Like,
honestly,
it's not even debatable.
it's important. But I'm saying, what does it look like, and what should it look like within our society? I think we like often talk about how like men have to see the signs, but I'm like, what does that mean to see the signs? Like, not everyone's as intuitive as maybe you or I am. Some people can't figure
Read.
out or read. Does that make them criminal or evil? No, it just means that they're fucking clumsy. I know women who can't read signs either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't respond to their message, they
We're
respond.
talking about the average person who has a good head on their shoulders. Okay, we're talking about a person. We're not talking about people who don't have a good head on their shoulders. Do you know what I mean?
I'll be honest with you. I don't feel like most people can read signs.
That's what I'm saying.
But
That's what I'm saying. It's not the norm.
Which is the problem.
Yes.
So
why consent needs to be explicit.
it needs to be explicit.
It needs to be explicit.
But how do you maintain that with romance?
Sorry, fuck the romance.
Maybe you feel that way, and I can respect that you feel that way.
Like, it's
the
nice.
next girl doesn't feel that way. The next girl
Then maybe
still
the
wants
next girl
her
needs to do
wedding
some-
dress, and she wants all that romance.
But what
and-
does that have to do with consent?
But my whole point is that if you are buying into the idea of romance, that you see passion and things happening a specific way. You want a man to lead. You want a man to do things.
Yeah, but that requires a lot of unlearning. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe that's what works for her, and that's the world that she is in, or he is in, or they are in, and they're still invested in that thought paradigm, and that is for them. But then that comes with a whole set of circumstances and a whole set of challenges and a whole set of problems as well, right?
Sure.
So that's a very different discussion from somebody maybe who doesn't have the same dominant narrative.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
But if I'll be honest
It's
with you,
hard to like put everyone in the same boat.
of course, there's always going to be outliers and people who feel differently. But
Yeah.
what I will say to you is that most of my experiences, women just liked it when a man was assertive and took control.
Because of course that's literally how we have hyper-masculinized our society. We've literally, everything is masculine. It's dominated by like a masculine narrative. Most things are dominated by a masculine narrative. Where like, if a man is overly sensitive, he's not seen by the dominant culture or whatever. I don't even know if it's dominant anymore, but like it's outdated. But as not being manly enough, because historically speaking, like that's how women felt safe, or you know, like there's
Yeah.
so that has a lot of like historical implications.
So you're saying in order to make society safer and for consent to exist, we have to kill romance?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we need to be able to shift our understanding of like romance by integrating consent into it. It can be romantic. It can be romantic if we just shift that narrative. We have to shift the narrative. It's shifting right now.
It's like, I feel like asking something kills the tension. And romance, a lot of it is tension. Can I kiss you? Yes.
but you also-
the tension's cut. We know, fucking full steam ahead. But going in for that kiss and the person being like, kissing you back, then you're like, ooh, nigga, I'm in. Right? But then you ask, I've done every type of way.
Yeah.
I've done all the type of ways. And there's and I guess, maybe if we unlearned a whole bunch of stuff, maybe that's a possibility for the future of our society.
Yeah.
But I think that programming runs so deep and
It is very deep.
and if men knew that asking for sex was going to yield better results than just going for it, men would ask every time. Men just want to do what it takes to get laid and kiss you and make it work. That's all they want. They just want the right result. But whatever people say outwardly, what real life experience teaches us is that innuendo, mystery, tension, that's what people like. Not knowing, I can't read him. He's so mysterious.
I'm so over that though. Like that is like so 2008 for me. No offense, like, yeah.
Maybe, and I mean, maybe where you're at, and if that's that's
I'm not going to speak for other people.
Most people are not there.
From where I'm at, you know, like I can't comment. I understand that I've been there, and looking back, I understand it's very much related to like my where I was at in terms of my conditioning, and you know, comfort levels around just who I am as a person as well, and how I feel in my body, and the things I thought I wanted, the kind of person I thought I wanted to be with. Yeah. Which a lot of it was like a story in my mind that was just been running, which I ended up having all those things and realizing that I still wasn't feeling fulfilled, and so I had to like undo a lot of the stories that were kind of driving that.
Would you? Have there ever been times where you violated a man's boundaries?
Not that I'm aware of. I may have not have known. It's very possible. Not that I'm aware of.
But you remember the times when people violated your boundaries?
It's always like that, isn't it? Yeah, most often. Unless it's like explicitly... No one has ever explicitly stated to me that I've made them uncomfortable, or I've violated their boundaries, or I pushed myself on them. It's also not my style, personally speaking.
That's fair. That's fair. I bring that up because...
Have you been in a situation where you feel like your boundaries have been violated?
It's kind of weird. Here's the thing. When it comes to the bedroom, I don't think people can really violate my bedroom, my boundaries, because of the fact that whatever happens, happens. I'm cool with it. But there have been times where people did things that I was like, that's weird, because I know if I flip these genders, this is a whole kind of bullshit scenario. Times I've woken up and we were having sex. I've woken up from scenarios I'm like, this girl's on top of me and I'm inside her. What the fuck is happening? But I'm like, I kind of enjoy it, so I'm not mad at it. But I also know, flip that around, and that's a weird scenario all of a sudden.
100%.
And the reason why I bring this up is not to demonize these girls, but just to explain that we learn from our experience. And if that becomes part of your semi-normal experience, then it's very easy for me to understand how people can think that's also okay. And these aren't like barbaric women. These are staunch feminists that I'm talking about. So I remember just thinking like, oh, you guys do this? You just grab a nigga's like penis, like first date, like you don't know him, like in a club, you just grab it? Okay. But do you not recognize how your behavior sets a message in their mind that this is okay to do? That's what I've been running through my head. That's what I've been running through my head. Yeah. I've had a couple times like, I remember a girl wanted to kiss me. I was like, I don't want to. And she's like, kiss me right now. I was like, no. And she kind of applied some extra pressure. I was like, I'll see you tomorrow. It's fine. Like, just chill out. And I remember I saw her tomorrow, and she was like giving this speech. Like, we were talking about politics and stuff. She was giving this speech about like consent and respecting people. And I kid you not, within 24 hours. And I was like, do you not remember last night when you pressured me to kiss you? And she's like, oh yeah, that was kind of fucked up. And I was like,
values probably not very aligned. People don't regularly check themselves. They don't check themselves, men or women.
Yeah. So there's always this weird thing where you're trying to understand, okay, what is right, what is wrong, but my life experience and the people who I'm supposed to take cues from say to do one thing but do another. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird. It's really weird. It's a gray area that I think a lot of people don't want to admit. And obviously, there's obviously overt forms of like boundary crossing that were clearly wrong, and most people can agree on those ones. But I feel like a lot of it also happens in a gray area that's not clear.
A lot of life is in a gray area, which is why we need to constantly check in with ourselves and with the people around us, which is why dialogue and conversation is very important, which is why having uncomfortable conversations around like sex is extremely important.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't know what the other person is coming in with in terms of like ideas and expectations and experience. You know, they're a whole world in and of themselves. So you guys are like, you're meeting, and they will treat you according to the set of rules and those sets of expectations and stuff that they have, obviously.
Yeah.
And that can clash, or that can match or mesh, but this is where the conversation piece that is, I think, important.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Create some clarity.
You
know?
Is there anything else you want to add about consent?
No, just ask. It's not cute, I guess, but it's just important. You know? It really is. Yeah.
All right. I think we can wrap it up there. It's been quite going on for some time. So if you guys enjoyed today's episode, leave comments on different things that we've talked about. We want to hear your input.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely be bringing back another episode of this in the future. So just be on the lookout. There's no fixed schedule. We kind of just do things when it feels right and when it works out. So keep watching.
All right.
How'd you feel? Good?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Having all these eyes on you?
I feel like you're easing me into it.
That's good. You're good on camera, so don't stress it.
Thanks.